All right, good afternoon, guys. We're here, ready to start this day off, right? PMP Sports. Big game today. Iona Manhattan. How you guys feeling about this one?
Go ahead, Greg.
Oh
go
boy,
first.
we'll talk about it later in the show, but I cannot wait for the game tonight. It is going to be absolutely incredible for everybody who did get tickets. We had to turn back 200 students because we weren't able to give them all tickets. We get rid of all 500 tickets. It's going to be incredible, but that's for later in the show.
All right, well, first we're just going to start off. Iona recently, they clinched the season title with a victory over Monmouth College.
Sunday.
It was a great win.
They kept us on our toes the whole game. It was awful.
Down 16 at the half.
Honestly, thought the game got away from us.
Monmouth was actually the most impressive team I thought we played this year at home.
They were very impressive, and they are definitely up there for one of our biggest competitors for the MAC title. But people were also talking about Ryder, but Ryder just lost their big man.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Lopez, number 35, tore his ACL, so he's not going to be playing for the rest of the season.
Huge loss.
Even started next season, most likely.
And then, of course, there's always the Jaspers of Manhattan, who's I personally, from a basketball analytic perspective, not a I hate Manhattan, they're actually having a down year from last year. I'm throwing that out there.
Of course.
They really are.
The whole starting five from last year pretty much graduated.
It was a whole senior lineup. I mean, you saw Masiello. That's still a great defense. Me and Greg went to the game at Manhattan. Predicted them to lose, but we squeaked that one out. That was a great game there.
That was a lot of fun.
And you keep forgetting that Ish Williams has not, or what do we call him? Sorry, I had no idea to call him Aki. That's disappointing. Aki hasn't been playing these, a month and a half almost?
Aki has not been playing, but I did hear rumors that he might be back tonight. I have not checked up on those rumors lately, but that is definitely a game-time decision.
It would be a great time for him to come back.
Mm-hmm. So, second straight regular season title in a row. Yeah. But we all know what it comes down to is the MAC tournament. And we've had a really nice out of conference schedule this past year. We went down to Arkansas, and Arkansas is probably the second best team in the SEC behind Kentucky, which Kentucky's just far and away the best team.
Unreal.
They're unreal. My pick.
I know.
What was that?
Yeah, I was a little confused too.
All right, go ahead, Martin.
We had Cleveland State at home. Cleveland State's always tough. Wake Forest. Okay, I understand Wake Forest isn't that great of a team this year, but anytime you go down into the ACC, which I think is the best conference, along with the Big Ten in the country, it depends who you ask. It's your opinion, but
any given day you can get a bad team and you can get a great team.
And they've been dominant at home. We haven't lost a game. Our RPI ranking is a 49, so it's still very much up in the air.
Yeah, well, let's knock on wood. Say Iona doesn't win the MAC championship. Their win against Wake Forest. Wake Forest only lost to UVA at UVA by 1 point, by a singular point, which wasn't too long ago. That was only 2 weeks ago. It wasn't. They have a good win against NC State. Wake Forest was actually a pretty good win, in my opinion.
Here's an interesting thing. Okay, Kentucky, one of its next games coming up against Arkansas, right? Mm-hmm. Arkansas, like we said, was one of the best teams in the SEC this year, second best. We went down to Arkansas when they were ranked 25th, and we kept it close for most of the game. Say Arkansas somehow upsets Kentucky.
Right.
That makes us look better because we were hanging with the guys that beat the best team in the country, and this is it really, I don't think they're better than the Anthony Davis team, but this Kentucky team's one of the best teams,
right,
hype-wise, in a long time in college basketball because they're undefeated this deep into the year. Yeah, their schedule hasn't been that tough, but if it was so easy, then every other team would be undefeated.
Exactly.
This is the way I like to put it, is that yes, everyone has been comparing this Kentucky team to the same year that Anthony Davis was on Kentucky.
It's not better.
It might not be better, but they will absolutely live up to the expectations of that Kentucky game. no matter what the brackets are going to look like, I have Kentucky as my national championship.
That's what we had at the. That's what we had prior to the season. I'm a huge Duke fan. I love Duke, but there's something about Duke that on the defensive end with Okafor is not good enough defensively. And even if Duke does line up with Kentucky, they don't have the depth to hang with them. I'm sorry. And Marshall Plumlee is the backup. That's all we have. Is Duke has as a big man. You have Emile Jefferson, but that's pretty much it. And say Okafor goes into foul trouble, which most likely he will because there's so many options for Kentucky. Duke is just going to have to hang with their guards. They're going to have to live and die by the three, and Kentucky's the best defensive team in the country, along with Virginia. It's going to be tough, but you know what? Anything can happen any given day. You can look at it. I mean, we beat Wake Forest earlier in the season, and they went on to lose to Virginia by just 2.
One.
I
mean, by one. So I mean, it just shows like we can hang with these teams.
If Iona makes his 3-pointers, okay, they can play with any team in the country. They're 7th in the country with 80.3 points a game. All right, they're not that good at rebounding. If they're having a good rebounding day, they'll be good. They're not even top 100 in the country. They're 102nd with 35.9 a game.
About 36
assists per game. It's really impressive because most of the time, teams that just live and die by the 3 usually just do isolation threes, pull-up jumpers. But Iona's 12th in the country with assists per game at 16.6. So they pass the ball. Iona passes the ball.
They're constantly running screens.
It's not just like a stagnant offense. Like the Knicks were a couple years ago is a good example because with the Knicks, that Melo team, when they beat the Celtics in the first round, when they win 54 games that year, I think, something like that.
28.
Yeah, 54 and 28. It was more of isolation stuff, like drive and kick, penetrate and kick out. Shoot the threes, but Iona, it's not really like that because it's just swing the ball around until the man's open, get out in transition after you get the rebound. It's just a run and gun. That's the style of the MAC,
It's one of the ththings I noticed is that almost everyone on this team has a really quick release. So I see them getting those shots off in just mere seconds, not even, just half a second it takes to get that shot off. So all you really need to do is move the ball around the perimeter until you get an open guy.
Yeah, Casimir's 14th in the country. He's got 85 3-pointers made. Right. AJ's 5 spots behind him. They're obviously tied. AJ's tied with other players with 83 made. And it's just, it's amazing. And the thing I want to say about the Monmouth game was that AJ was held to 1 point at halftime in that game. AJ was having a tough game, and he even came out a little rough in the second half, if you can remember. AJ was forcing a lot of threes, but then he eventually settled into his game after he just hit one. All it takes for a great player, doesn't matter what level it is. I'm not comparing AJ to Kobe Bryant or Jordan or anybody like that. But when a great player is a great player, it only takes one shot for them to get going, especially a shooter. Because if Ray Allen's not making a shot all game, Ray Allen makes 1 3, he's going to start feeling it. He's got a shooter's mentality, and that was the impressive thing with him. So,
hey, we have a great set of players. When it comes to getting into that MAC tournament, if we win, I guarantee. I'm not gonna guarantee a win. I say we're gonna win.
We're slated to face Wichita State
right now. As of right now, we're slated to.
When
face
was the last time you checked
State.
up on that?
This morning.
Oh, it was this morning?
It was this morning. Joe Lenard,
before
Daily Dose of Hoops tweeted out that you could. I'll go pull up the retweet.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the bracket from what he has now. I just remember a couple of days ago he had us playing North Carolina.
UNC's as a 5th seed, right? Yeah, it's at 2 hours. This was 2 hours ago by at a Daily Dose of Hoops. This is a Jasper Twitter account, but you know what?
It's all right.
It's all right. We'll use it.
No,
it's credible enough.
That Twitter page is really
it is really
especially
good.
for the mid majors. But go on.
It has us as a 12th seed in Columbus, Ohio, versus Wichita State, and we would play the winner of Notre Dame, Murray State. So we would have a chance of winning 2 games.
2 solid games, and at that point, once you win 2. There's no telling what you can do. You have the confidence now to just keep going on in the tournament.
A program like Iona, a mid-major, all it really takes is to win 1 game in the tournament, and then they can get on a roll. Exactly. The thing about the MAC is our past 3 teams that have represented us in the tournament have been us twice and then Manhattan.
Right.
We've all lost. Manhattan was the closest when they almost upset Louisville last year because it was a perfect matchup for Masiello with his former coach Pitino at Kentucky. Iona, it all comes down to how they're playing that day. And if Iona's making the threes, then I think they got a good shot of beating anyone in the country. But that's all it comes down to. And you know what? Who knows this year? You know, we only have one senior on the team, and David's senior night.
And Dublin.
Jolani, graduate student. Student. Yeah, not a lot of people know that. But I'd just like to congratulate David on a great career.
Yeah, he did have a fantastic year.
He did. He had a great year this year. Hopefully, best of luck at the next level with him. Hopefully, his career is going to extend mid-March, a little bit later.
My favorite part about Dave, watching him grow. He honestly, from last year to this year, stepped up
so much better.
20 times better than last year.
Especially the shooting.
Oh, my gosh.
The three-point. He didn't have a three-point shot last year.
He scares me whenever he shoots a three-pointer. He scares me. It's unbelievable.
Actually, in the beginning of the season, he did scare me. Now he doesn't really scare me.
At first, you feel like he's taking too many, but eventually you start making them.
He makes them. I mean, for a power forward who's a Karl Malone finalist, top 16, which Karl Malone Award, if you don't know, is the best power forward in the country. He's a finalist for that, which is a great accomplishment, even though it is the first year for the Karl Malone Award. But either way, it's a great honor. Top 16 at your position in the country. Doesn't matter where you play, how old you are, what conference you're in. It's a great feat nonetheless.
Absolutely.
You know?
All right, well.
So, one more thing. I'll ask you first, Chris. What do you think percentage-wise chances of us getting an at-large bid if we do not win the conference tournament?
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, of course.
I'm gonna go. We're gonna win. I'm gonna have us winning the MAC tournament, so that's gonna give us a really good percentage.
But that's not an at-large bid. At-large bid is when you don't win your conference.
When you don't win a conference, you get a.
Throw out a percentage. What's your guess?
About 30. 40.
30,
40. See, I'm up higher. I'm a little bit more in the 55-60% range. Honestly, if knock on wood as always, if we don't win the conference, we really did have the stats are there. Everyone loves the fact.
We had a great season.
It's not even up to us.
It's not.
It's what happens to other teams in the country. That's what happens. I honestly say I'm at 55% right around where Greg is right now. If Arkansas upsets Kentucky and say Wake Forest wins a game or two in the ACC tournament, I think Iona is going to go up to like the 60, 65%. Going to be 70.
Going back to that Arkansas game, at halftime, Iona was only down by 4 points. So that's a little
They kept it close.
They did keep it close.
That was early in the season.
And in that game, they only shot 30% from the three-point line, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as...
Before Christmas, that game happened.
What happened? Before what?
That game happened before Christmas. That was still in November. Teams grow over time. Arkansas got a lot better. We got a lot better. You know,
there's a reason why there are 30 games in the season. I mean, there's multiple times within the season where you could just have a team change. But with that being said, as you guys say, we have a great chance. I'm gonna be on the low side. But yeah, chances at an at-large bid are good. But I think we're gonna win. We won't even need an at-large bid. But we're just gonna take a break for a little bit here. When we come back, we're gonna talk about some other things in terms of close games. But we'll see you guys in a little bit.
WICR presents this moment in history.
The Boston Marathon, held on Patriots Day, the third Monday of every April, has been a staple event in the New England community for over a century. A day that's normally filled with pride and prosperity was overshadowed by devastation on April 15, 2013. At 2:49 p.m. near the finish line, 2 bombs went off, killing 3 and injuring over 200 more.
Major breaking news. Right now, 2 people dead after 2 explosions at the finish line of the famed Boston Marathon.
In what was an attempt to break the spirit and fire of a great American city, instead inspired a country to stand behind a community and proclaim that we are and forever will be Boston strong.
This is our city, and nobody gonna dictate our freedom. Stay strong.
For WICR, I'm Ken Reichman.
WICR presents This Moment in History.
Today I say, as long as this gate is closed, as long as this scar of a wall is permitted to stand, it is not the German question alone that remains open, but the question of freedom for all mankind. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
You're listening to WICR, Iona College Radio. You're listening to WICR, Iona College Radio.
Bueller?
He's sick.
Don't miss out on the fun. What's up, guys? This is Roberto telling you to check out my show, The Midday Mess. I talk all the latest in pop culture. Did Jay-Z get roundhouse kicked by Beyonce's sister Solange? Tune in Wednesdays, 2 to 3 p.m. on Ustream, Live 365, and right here only on WICR.
Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hi, this is Victor Cruz, Super Bowl champion New York Giants,